Hey, Devour Feculence. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite TV shows, and today I am going to finally talk about Severance. Oh my god. So, yeah, everyone's talking about this TV show. A lot of people are talking about it when this came out a few years ago. I wasn't really that interested in seeing it. I don't know why, but ever since the end of Game of Thrones and maybe like The Boys season 3-ish, that was around the time when I started losing interest in TV shows. I just thought that people care more about limited series and tiny contained things and no longer are invested in big TV shows that has multiple seasons, which is disappointing because I miss the good old days of Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and Mad Men. Even though I was like a child when Mad Men aired, but I was still following Mad Men. So now we have this age of streaming where TV shows are now more of like a switch on and switch off your brain kind of thing. Like switch on the TV, switch off your brain kind of thing. So when Severance came out and it looked like this cool sci-fi thriller thing, I thought it's just going to turn into forgettable mush. So I never really invested myself in Severance. But last semester when I took classes, there were classmates constantly talking about Severance. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it, I'll watch it. So a few months ago, I watched season 1, and then just now, half an hour ago, I finished season 2, and I'm going to talk about it. So this is a TV show created by Dan Erickson, and it is mainly directed by Ben Stiller. It is a show that is coming out of Apple TV, and it stars Adam Driver, I believe that's his name. Yes, Adam Scott. Fuck, I keep mixing them up. Okay, yes, Adam Driver is the other guy. I just remember he's a guy and his name is Adam. Okay, it stars Adam Scott and Patricia Arquette's in it. John Turturro is in it. Oh my god. Christopher Walken is in it. What? And it's about severance, which is this procedure where you sever your brain, your identity, so that when you go to work, you switch off your main brain and you go into your work brain. And your work brain, your work self, has no idea about of anything about their lives outside of work. Meanwhile, their outside have no idea what's happening in the inside of their work, which is why these severed workers have innies and outies. Innies are always inside and outies are always outside, and they never know what happens in the other side, basically. And then aside from that, this company that's running this procedure is called Lumen, and it's this evil mega corporation that runs the town and is doing some devious, shady things, and they're almost like a cult because their founder is called Keir Egan and everyone worships him. He wrote something that is kind of like the Bible, and people are forced to read that book to follow the path of Keir, and everything's super clean and regimented, and everyone who works there acts really stiff. It's almost kind of hideous. So a lot of fishy things are happening. It's kind of sus. What the hell are they doing? So Adam Scott's character, his name is Mark Scout, and him and 3 other workers are part of a team called Macro Data. I'm using my own English here. Macro Data Refinement, and they look at numbers on a retro computer screen, and they react emotionally to some numbers, and then they group them in some boxes, and we don't know what it means until like the finale of season 2. So that's that. So I guess to put it lightly, what I see Severance as is like a Lost, but instead of an island, it's an office. And not as many characters. That's how I would explain it, and that is great because I love Lost. Now, first of all, the opening sequence is awesome. Opening sequences are so back, guys. I remember just how much I love opening sequences to TV shows. Of course, animes have historically consistently have OPs, but in American shows, we have a lot of shows that just decide to abandon opening sequences. Like, The Boys don't have opening sequences. Euphoria doesn't have opening sequences, but I was just like, damn, I love opening sequences. I love these things that just open off a TV show and gets you into the mood, and you're like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? And then because of these opening sequences, now the writer has the choice of doing a cold open. And when you have a cold open, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? And then it cuts to the opening sequence and you're like, oh my god, what's going on? I love them, and they are totally back in full force in Severance. So I'm really happy about that. Really good theme as well, really sticks to your head. Another thing is the cinematography is actually really good. The thing is, a good chunk of the show takes place in an office, and you're either in that room or in the hallways. And they are the most boring possible places you can ever photograph because they are just nothing but white walls and tables. They're really clean, really sterile. So I think the cinematography did a fantastic job because the DPs of all of these episodes and the directors, of course, have figured out a way to film in all kinds of angles, wide shots, close ups, from the bottom, from the top, Dutch angle, steady cam, whatever. They just figure out every single possible way to frame and shoot the location so that it would be interesting. Same goes for PD, production design, even though most of it is just sterile white walls. Damn, that's a lot of flats. Oh god. But also the tiny details, like this evil big company, Lumen, they have their own kind of food, they have their own kind of clothes, they have their own kind of computers, they have their own kind of equipment, a Lumen pen, a Lumen book, a Lumen this, a Lumen that, the doors. It's all designed very well, and I kinda like that. Okay, anyways, let's talk about the individual seasons. Season 1 I thought was pretty good. It didn't blow my mind though, and that's the thing. Maybe it's because the more I watch shows and the more I watch films in general, the harsher I am towards just TV, because I think it's really easy for TV shows to be, oh, it's entertaining, so I got to watch the next episode. But now I really care about how much they're actually playing with the form and the narrative. But anyways, the pilot episode really solid. You got a beaten down protagonist who needs a change. A change happens. You got a lingering sense of mystery. A whole story wraps up in 50 minutes, yet it's still asking for more. This is your solid golden ratio pilot episode. This is a kind of pilot episode where you hand the studio executive the script and they're like, yes, it's greenlit. And then suddenly you're reading this TV pilot script in your TV screenwriting class. Look at this perfect example. It is a very, very formulated and in a good way pilot script. And then episodes 2, 3, 4 pretty much follow a pretty regimented formula. And that's my first problem with Severance season 1, is that they are treating a season of TV show as if it's just a movie split into a few parts, which I don't think it should be treated that way. A TV show should be different. They should make good use of the fact that it's multiple episodes. But episodes 2, 3, and 4 literally just build up the mystery. The plot keeps going. The main character, Mark, his former co-worker came back to his Audi, and he's like suspicious of it, and then he does something, and then he runs into him again, and then it kind of lingers on and kind of meanders a little bit here and there. Nothing too crazy happens, but episodes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they all do a pretty great job of moving the plot forward. And then we have the ending, which damn, it really actually delivered. It actually really paid off. I think a lot of TV shows, especially nowadays, are scared to make big changes at the end of season finale because a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, it's season one finale, but I need to not reveal everything so that I could have a second season and save the biggest, most epic, dramatic moments for season two. But no, go all out, please. Go all out. And I'm glad Severance season one ended all out. It was as much as the innies could do, as it pertains to the crazy fucked up nightmare that is their workspace. My other issue though is the dialogue. I thought it was really. I know the staff who works there, especially Cobell, who is played by Patricia Arquette, and Milchick. I know they're both Lumen staff, and Lumen people are, oh, today is a fine day, jolly weather, blah blah blah, and they sound really inhuman. I know that's part of the shtick, but when they all sound like that, when all the villains sound like that, when all the antagonists sound like that, it's kind of cartoony. I can't really take them that seriously, so it kind of took me out of it a little bit. But overall, still very solid season, still very enjoyable. Feeling a strong 7 out of 10 for season 1. Okay, now we move on to season 2, which I have way more to talk about. First of all, episode 1, amazing opening with robotic arms, a pogo stick camera as opposed to the steady cam. Really great opening shot, really nice jazzy music to accompany that kind of anxiety. I'm not going to spoil what happened at the end of season 1, but at the end of season 1, the innie of Mark, the main character, saw something, experienced something really crazy, and then boom, he's back at the office. And he has no idea how much time has passed. He has no idea what happened in between because he's only focused on that, on the memory of the innie, right? So another thing the season 2 does is that it has a very clever way to undo everything that happened in season 1 finale. And I know that's a complaint. That's like, usually it's like, oh, at the end of season 1, these people, they try to escape, they try to do something, but psych, they fail, and now we have season 2. It keeps on happening. Yes and no. Severance does that, but doesn't do that. And they do that in a very clever way. So it doesn't cheapen season 1. And I kind of appreciate that. Episodes 1 and 2 of season 2 are the aftermath of last season's finale, but from two different POVs. Innie Mark's POV and Outie Mark's POV. Which is great because at this point, Innie and Outie Mark are basically two different characters. Not only does the severance concept make the 4 severed workers 8 characters, but also it's like a mind game. It's like how much can you do outside and what can you do outside to kind of affect what's happening inside, and how much can you do inside that's affecting what's happening on the outside. It's kind of like a mind game of like, what can you possibly play with this concept. So I kind of like that. And then from this point onward, every episode is full of surprises, and every time an episode ends, you're like, I have to watch another episode, and then the other episode starts and you're like, what the fuck? So like something crazy would really happen, like a brain surgery would happen to one of the characters, and the characters like going insane and like you know, like having the spasms, and then it ends, and then the next episode, Irving wakes up on a lake, on an icy frozen lake. What the fuck happened? So Woe's Hollow is a kind of a bottle episode where the entire episode takes place in a snowy retreat in the woods where the 4 workers, right? Irving, played by John Turturro, we have Dylan, we have Helly, and then we have Mark. They're all in this retreat, and it's like a team building retreat thing, and I like it. It's a little slow, but I think it's good. It kind of reminds you of Succession in some ways because the whole episode is dedicated to one location. And ending is really crazy. Love the ending. And then, of course, I'm like, oh my god, I need to see another episode. I click on the next episode, and I'm like, what's happening? There is a really cool character arc with Milchick, Mr. Milchick, one of my favorite characters, probably my my top two favorite characters of Severance. The other one being Irving. But Milchick is amazing because he is an antagonist, but he starts snapping, he starts flipping, he's feeling pressure himself, and Tremel, shoot, what's his last name? Tremel Tillman. Tremel Tillman's performance as Milchick is amazing because he's like, please enjoy your food equally. And he does this smile, but it's this fake smile, and you can see he's boiling underneath. Wow, I can see that his mind is as sharp as his incisors. It's so, ooh. So his performance is really good, and seeing him kind of start to snap is actually really interesting. We are also introduced to a new character called Miss Huang, and she's a child. She is this Weijin child who suddenly became Milchick's assistant, and Milchick feels threatened by this child. And it's so interesting. More on that later. Now we have two pretty dividing episodes back to back. One is Chick High Bardo, the other is Sweet Vitriol, which is respectively episodes 6 and 7, or 7 and 8. And Chick High Bardo is an episode completely filled with flashbacks and trippy montages, and they're all kind of fragmented. And it's basically Audi Mark having these flashes, imagery of his dead wife, Gemma. And a lot of people didn't like it, but honestly, I don't mind it. I like the artistic experimentation of it. I like the stop motion. It's very clunky, clanky, and it actually reveals things. And then the next episode, Sweet Vitriol, is completely dedicated to Cobell, Harmony Cobell, this anti-hero, anti-villain character who has her own personal journey in some random snowy town in the north. And I like this episode less than Chikar Bardo, mostly because one episode of like fillery montages is fine, but another episode of fillery story, 2 episodes like that back to back just doesn't feel justified. But yeah, it's a fine episode. It did reveal things. It's not completely pointless. At this point, I should point out a few conveniences that I didn't like as much, or at least I would like to point them out. One is, why did Devon, Mark's sister, trust Cobell this fast when Cobell was such a suspicious person? Second of all, Miss Huang kind of goes away in the second last episode, and I just thought that it was not a very great decision because she has her own story arc, and it's kind of just cut off. It just kind of ends there. And I know Miss Huang's point is to, I guess, make Milchick snap, but I don't like that Miss Huang is only there as a tool. I wish Miss Huang would have her own little story arc. Maybe Miss Huang goes insane. Maybe Miss Huang becomes even more authoritarian than Mr. Milchick, you know. So I hope she comes back. And I think she will. Irving's arc, again, Irving also kind of just has, his arc kind of just ends, and I'm like, damn, what the heck? There should be more. He has things building up for him. He has a lot of things building up for him, and it kind of just fizzles out. I wish there's more. But anyways, they really saved the best for the last 2 episodes, because the second last and especially the last episode is absolutely freaking amazing. The finale just fires on all cylinders, just full-blown fireworks, just everything the whole show has built up to, just lots of violence, lots of crazy moments, lots of funny moments as well. Ben Stiller is, at the end of the day, kind of funny still. Even when directing something so serious, there are a lot of funny violence in the movie that, or in the episode, that I just did not expect, and it was freaking awesome. Yeah, just the ending is also really good, leaves it hanging. So yeah, not a lot else to complain about. The finale is fantastic. The dance scene with Milchick doing the dance. Oh, now it's time for the dance of this. It's just so hideous. It's awesome. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for season 2. Decent 8. One complaint I do have, minor complaint, is that it still follows a pretty strict modern prestigious TV formula. Oh, there are these characters, and each character has their conflict, and this is how their story goes, and on the next episode, this is how their story goes a little bit more. I want to see more variation. I brought up Lost earlier, I'm going to bring it back. When Lost was huge, the thing with Lost is that every episode almost felt like a different genre. Sometimes in Severance, I feel like the writers have to figure out cool new things every episode so that it would feel different. So they start coming up with these, oh, next episode is going to be all flashbacks. Next episode is going to take place in the snowy town. But the thing is, they can play so much more with the narrative. They can be so much more playful with it. So that's all I'm going to say. So yeah, season 1 is a 7, season 2 is an 8. Looking forward to season 3. So have you watched Severance? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more. Thanks for watching.